Welcome to a press conference at the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan. My name is Teddy Jimbo. I am CEO of an internet media called videonews.com, and I co-chair the committee that organizes the media events like this one today, and I'm a moderator. And our speaker is probably requires no introduction. Taro Kono. He's been here many times. 何回来たかね?
10回ぐらい。
He's one of the regulars. Even under the Abe administration, when most of the LDP members were very reluctant to come here because this press conference here is unscripted, which is important keyword these days. But anyway, so when no one was willing to come, he came forward and he gave a press conference many times here. Like I said, he probably doesn't require any introduction, but just to remind you, he's a 9-term member of the House of Representatives, 9回当選, and he's 61 years old. He's been a lawmaker for 28 years, and he's a graduate of Georgetown University. He worked briefly for the Fuji Xerox before becoming the politician, and he has held such ministerial portfolio as foreign, defense, deregulation, vaccine, and right now he's the digital minister right now. And he's running for the presidency of the LDP now in the upcoming presidential election. And this is his third bid for the position. And he's, by the way, fourth generation politician. I think that's pretty much it. And he's going to speak in English. We have no translation today into Japanese. But if any of his bankisha-san wants to ask questions in Japanese, of course, Kono-san will understand Japanese, and I will briefly sort of summarize the Japanese into English. So please feel free to ask questions in either English or Japanese. And Kono-san will speak about 20 minutes or so, and then the floor is open for Q&A. And so let's start the press conference. じゃあ、河野さんよろしくお願いします。
Well, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your invitation. I still think your old building was much, much better. I miss it. But, well, after the end of the World War II, the United States was probably the most powerful nation until now, I guess. Japan's security was based on the relationship with the United States. We have security treaty, and we have U.S. bases in Japan, and we have enjoyed a good bilateral relationship with the United States. And recently, I think our bilateral security cooperation is going deeper than before. Yet, we see American politics is going to be more and more volatile, and I think more and more American people are going inward looking or isolationist. So I guess we need to have some layered security policies to protect peace and stability in Asia. I think Japan needs to work with those countries who share the common values like rule of law, freedom, or democracy. So Japan, Europe, Korea, Australia, and other like-minded countries need to share more burden that United States has been shouldering for last so many years. And then right now, Europe has Russian invasion in Ukraine, and there's a conflict in the Middle East which is expanding. Yet they are committed to free and open Indo-Pacific. UK, France, Germany, Italy have been sending their Navy ships to South China Sea, East China Sea, to Japan, to the Pacific. So if Europe is so committed to free and open Indo-Pacific, I think Asian nations also need to reciprocate, and Japan as well. So we need to know, and we need to communicate with our people that no longer any nation can defend itself alone. We need to have some allies. We need to have allies to keep the stability and the peace in everyone's region. So LDP is now trying to come up with a proposal for amendment of Constitution. We would like to write about the self-defense force in the Constitution. But, well, that's going to be the first step. And then we need to go further than that. I think we need to say that we will be responsible. We will share the burden of keeping peace and stability on this planet. And Japan need to do whatever required for us to do. I think U.S.-Japan security relationship is still the most fundamental base for our security and our defense. But looking at the situation in Washington, or looking at the situation in the presidential election, we don't know what's coming out of Washington in, I don't know, short term, long term, whatever. So we really need to prepare to create some kind of collective forum to keep the stability and peace in Asia. I often talked about expanding NATO into the Pacific. Well, we were supposed to be setting up a NATO office in Tokyo, but there was a little opposition from within Europe, and it's still not here yet. But something, collective forum to defend the stability and peace in Asia is necessary. Also, when United States goes volatile, there will be question about extended deterrence. Yes, we set up ministerial extended deterrence dialogue with United States. It looks good, but if Washington goes more isolationist, we need some kind of deeper assurance. Some people would say, logically speaking, Japan should get a nuclear deterrence capability of ourselves. Logically speaking, it could be, but if we take that path, South Korea would surely follow us, and then others would follow. And then everyone would have a nuclear capability for their own deterrence capability. And that would create a really volatile situation. One human error, one computer mistakes, or just a terrorist act could trigger a nuclear warfare. And that's not really good for humankind. So Japan shouldn't take that path, but we also need to create some kind of assurance. So we need to have our own non-nuclear deterrence capability with long-range missiles. And we should talk deeper with the United States, like, well, let us put our finger in the trigger kind of dialogue. I don't know how U.S. would react to that, but we definitely need to show some kind of assurance to the neighboring nuclear country that U.S. extended deterrence is still intact. Well, looking at the global situation, China, Russia, those dictatorships are now trying to change the status quo with forces, and we shouldn't allow that. When I was foreign minister, I was a negotiator with Russia for peace treaty, and I had a very high hope then, but because of this Ukrainian invasion, I think we need to terminate the talks with Russia at this moment. It's quite unfortunate, but sometime in the future, I hope that we could have another opportunity to negotiate with Russia. And then we see Global South is growing in not just in terms of economy, but in terms of politics, global politics as well. Japan is the only country among G7 which is not based in a Christian civilization. So Japan should work much more to bridge the Global South and the West. And the United Nations still reflecting then reality of the end of the World War II. Many of the Global South countries were not independent. They didn't exist then. Those Japan, Germany, Italy, well recovered from devastation, and we marked economic development, but that is not reflected either. So we definitely need to make changes in the United Nations. And we have been saying that for almost half a century or so. And I think it's time for us to learn from the American history. When the original 13th state came up with Article of Confederation, whatever their first constitution, they needed to amend the article, but it was so rigid, they couldn't amend it. So what they did is they just simply adapted the constitution, get rid of the old one. If we are not able to amend the UN Charter because of the veto power of the permanent five, maybe we should forget about amending the incumbent charter, and we should adopt new charter and move on to new UN 2.0 or something. That's something we really need to start talking. Also, when I was a foreign minister, I thought Japan should go deeper with the Middle Eastern country. I think we have established a fairly good relationship with ASEAN country and other Asian countries. Now it's time for us to work out with Middle East. Well, we should go carbon neutral by 2050. Yes, that's true. But at this moment, our economy, our social life depend on our energy coming from the Middle East. So stability and the peace in the Middle East directly related to our life here in Japan. So there are all the reasons for Japan to be more involved in the Middle Eastern affairs. And Japan is very neutral in terms of religion, race, history. We have no negative footprint in Middle Eastern history. So I think Japan needs to go deeper. I accompanied Prime Minister Abe when he visited Iran. I think it was a good visit. And we could talk to Iran, and I think we need to be more involved with Iranian affairs, and possibly we should work with JCPOA so that we can prevent Iran to go nuclear. or the situation in Gaza. Yes, it started out with terrorism by Hamas, but what's going on right now is way too much, and we need to help settling down the situation and rebuild life of Palestinian people. Japan has been supporting two-state solutions for many, many years. Maybe it's time for us to consider recognizing state of Palestine to make the point. Yes, we do have good relationship with Israel, but we need to solve this Palestinian issue to make the lasting peace in the region. That is now clear. So Japan need to step up involvement here. We have done agro-industrial park in Jericho that was among Japan, Israel, Palestine, and Jordan. Four of us often sit down and talked about it, and this industrial park has produced so many Palestinian companies that are now that have started to export product out of the industrial park, and we definitely need to help the economy of the West Bank and Gaza. So I think we should step up our involvement. Well, it's about 20 minutes, so maybe I should stop here, and I would like to invite your questions regarding, I don't know, global affairs or whatever. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kono. So the floor is open for questions. Please raise your hand, and if you are designated, come forward. There are two microphones front, and cite your name and affiliation, and please make your questions short. Okay, go ahead.
Richard Susilo from Indonesia, Tribun News, Kompas newspaper. Mr. Minister, Mr. Kono, you are talking about the worldwide, etc., etc. So you are now in the election time of the Jiminto. So if you become as a prime minister, what would you like to suggest? What is your proposal for this population? Because decreasing very fast in Japan. Would like to hear about this solution for the population. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the depopulation is one of the biggest problems for Japan. And in order to increase the birth rate, we need to have a thriving economy. Right now, the parents are not so sure if they could invest in more than one child. So they limit the number of children. Moreover, those whose earning is fairly low are not willing to get married. So getting economy forward and increasing the wage would lead to the marriage rate, and then eventually it would turn out for birth rate. So the issue of depopulation, we need to tackle the economy issue first, and then hopefully it will relate to the birth rate.
Okay, next question. Okay, Nishimura-san first, then you, and then.
My name is Nishimura Freelance. This is a time the criticism on the hereditary lawmakers from the opposite party. But my question is a little bit related to that. Do you have any intention to refer to the deep remorse or sincere apology about the wartime era? As your father mentioned in his statement in 1993 on the comfort woman, if you make yourself Prime Minister. Do you have any intention to refer to that?
I'm quite surprised that our journalists still talk like that. That statement was a cabinet statement, not a personal statement. And that has been talked about so many years, and still a journalist talking like that. I was quite surprised.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much for accepting my request. My name is Henza. I'm the president of Asia Bapti Alliance Japan, Ipan Shodan, and the founder of the Blogza and the contributor of the Street and Fob USA. I have a question that I'm totally discussed about the technology side. I have a question that now these days, most of the country, international country, focused on the decentralization finance or digital finance, especially now they are converting their real estate business into a tokenization system. And the second thing I want to be discussed or have after this, whenever you have a time after the Prime Minister, when you have discuss about the Web3 sector, every country have a separate area or some kind of separate department, especially for the international investor in the Web3 field. So I want to know about your opinion about the decentralization or real asset business convert into the tokenization and future of the Web3 in your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Web3 was quite a buzzword a couple of years ago. I think 1 year at Davos in January, everyone was talking about Web3. But quite surprisingly, the year after, nobody talked about Web3. It was AI and quantum. And Web3 simply disappeared. So yes, technology like blockchain or some kind of token, technology involved in Web3 are still effective, I guess. But I'm not sure if Web3, as people used to talk about, still good enough or not. Not quite sure. Yes, blockchain is a good technology to keep track of things, and those technology would definitely survive and flourish. But I'm not sure if that is a particular topic that you separate from other technology like quantum, AI, or others.
Right now we are using Web 2. Everything is the technology, the browser, and everything is converted into Web 2 right now, and we are moving to shift to the Web 3. The USA, the Europe countries, even though the Middle East country is also focused on the Web 3 because the technology will be shifted on the blockchain completely. So
I don't think people need to recognize if it's Web 2 or Web 3. The good technology would survive and it would be embedded into the new technologies. But we don't really need to see if this is Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, Web 4. I don't think we need to think about those layered way anymore.
Okay, the gentleman in the back. Yeah, you've been raising a hand.
Hi, I'm Doug Montgomery with Global Connects Media. Thank you so much for coming. Minister Kono, you've had many different positions in government, obviously, from defense to present digitalization. Recently, the government came out with a new Cool Japan policy talking about how to accelerate soft power. Before my question, you were talking, I would argue, hard power, nuclear deterrence, et cetera. It seems to me that there's a huge opportunity for Japan right now to lean into soft power. There has been no time in my lifetime, and I'm not that young, that the impression of Japan has been so strong without any negativity. If you look at the 90s, there was lots of negativity, a lot of Japan bashing. along with all the other things like Sony, et cetera's advance. Now you have a massive amount of soft power, Shohei Ohtani, anime, and those kind of things. Everybody laughs. However, it is, in my view, an absolute moment to lean into soft power. The government has announced that it's around $20 billion they want to quadruple by 2033. I think there's a massive multiplier effect on top of that. As digital minister, do you see any opportunities there? Because I see huge opportunities to lean into digitization, as the lady mentioned, Web3, with soft power. Do you have any ideas on that?
Thank you. Yes. Now, I think that Japan's soft power is globally recognized. When I was a foreign minister, I was quite amazed that our ambassadors, when they ask their prime minister, the prime ministers of the country or the cabinet ministers, when they invite them, they are very willingly to come to have dinner at the ambassador's residence, and they enjoy the nice sushi. And many of the country ambassador's residence was the best Japanese restaurant. Maybe not in Paris or maybe not in a couple cities, but so starting from that, yes, anime, manga, and all those things. The government has set up a fund to promote those Japanese soft power and failed quite miserably. There was one government fund that's supposed to be making Hollywood movies. And I don't know, I forgot how much, but we put a good deal of money in there, and they came up with 0 movie at all. And I finally disbanded when I was a minister for deregulation. So yes, we have a lot of assets, but we need to be very careful how to use the software or how to support the expansion of the soft power. If you look at the Japanese movies, lately, many of the Japanese movies are created by production committee, where no one is responsible and everyone has to agree to do anything. And the scenario usually are terrible. The Japanese TV station no longer create good dramas. So something must be wrong and something need to be changed. And I believe we need a good individual who can lead the industry, who can lead whatever, and make decision, and then bring it to out of Japan. If a government trying to take a lead, it would be, well, I don't want to say that, but it would be like very smaranai thing, right? So if you look at some big event, the opening ceremony of big event, I won't name it, but you got 5 directors talking among each other, came up with. So we need to have someone, people like Peter Uberos, who led the LA Olympic back in 1980. That kind of people who can make decision and take whole responsibility and make it successful. So it is how you can find those leaders in each category, plus how you can support the workers in a situation like in anime industry. Those creators are suffering. They're doing a great job, but they're not getting much out of it. So we need to protect the workers in the industry, and we need to show them they're successful and they are making money and they have social status. So young people wanted to go into that field. Otherwise, we need to have talent in the pipeline to be successful. And I'm not sure if we are able to. We have been able to do that. So yes, we have a lot of soft power. Everyone talks about it. And if you go to, say, New York City, half of the sushi shop are not run by Japanese, or maybe more than half of the sushi shop. So that's something we really need to think about strategy.
Okay. Did you say something is boring?
Oh, I didn't say it.
つまらない。I missed that. Okay. Anyway, let me just read a question. Two questions came in online. We still have plenty of time. Okay. This is a question from Shoko Oda of Bloomberg News. She's asking about Japan's energy and climate policies. Japan is working on its new strategic energy plan, and it will also need to submit a new NDC. NDC is nationally determined contribution under Paris Agreement next year. Some countries and environmental NGOs have been critical of Japan's decarbonization strategy, saying it's not ambitious enough and it's only prolonging the use of fossil fuel. Is Japan's current decarbonization strategy, as outlined in the GX plan, enough? And if you were to become a prime minister, what are some things you'll push for in terms of energy and climate policies?
Thank you. Our electricity consumption peaked in 2007. And since then, 17 years in a row, the electricity consumption is going down. So I used to believe by 2050, if we can double the rate of increase in renewable energy, and if we could continue that, by 2050, we could supply almost all the electricity in Japan with renewable energy. But recently, because of the data center and AI, the electricity consumption forecast is going back up. And there's no way we can fill that out with renewable energy. Even if by 2050, even if we restart all the nuclear power plant that deemed to be safe, we still don't have enough electricity supply. So at this moment, we have to look at everything from hydrogen, ammonia, CCS, fusion energy, replacing nuclear power plant or whatever. I think if we fail to meet the demand, the data center will move away from Japan. AI investment to Japan will go to some other country. So that would be quite devastating to the economy. And we have experienced this Typhoon 11, or I don't know what you call it. And now we are seeing in South China Sea there was a super typhoon. And because of the climate change and global warming, the typhoon getting stronger and stronger. And seawater temperature around Japan is quite high, so typhoon gets stronger and approaching to Japan. So I think first thing we need to do is we definitely need to move away from fossil fuels. And that's something we really need to do. And we need to really increase our renewable energy. And if nuclear power plant is declared safe, we need to restart. So fossil fuel, we need to really move out of it. And a lot of people are suffering from a strong typhoon, strong rain. And I think everyone in Japan would agree to that. So how are we going to double the rate of increase of renewable energy? That is really important. We used to have good wind power, but now it's gone. We used to have very strong solar, it's gone. But we are now trying to bring in offshore wind power, and we are trying to develop new type of solar energy. And we need to get the local industry for renewable thing. So we need to deregulate. We need to deregulate so that new investment could come and increase the renewable energy for electricity supply.
Is it fair to say that you have departed from your previous zero nuclear power generation position?
Yes, I used to believe we don't need a nuclear power as electricity consumption goes down. But recent forecast with AI and data center, it goes back up. And we need to be realistic. So I changed my policy a little bit. We need to allow nuclear power plant to supply the power to those industry as well.
Okay. One more question from online. This is from Khaldun Azhari of Pan Orient News. Given that you are foreign and defense minister, what are the challenges facing Japan's diplomacy, and how do you think that the Israeli war on Gaza could end?
Yeah, I would like to ask Prime Minister Netanyahu how he could end the war in Gaza. 2 million people suffering that much, and how he could end the war and live peacefully in the region. I think Japan need to do whatever it takes to support the people of Gaza and the West Bank. I don't know how it's going to end the thing, but as soon as the fighting ends, I think we need to step up our support for the Gazan people and trying to help them rebuild things. I remember when I came to the parliament back in 1996, we were talking about sewage system in Han Yunis, and Japan put big money into that to build a sewage system in Han Yunis to make the life better in the region, and I assume it's all gone by now. So we really need to start from scratch, and that's a real pain.
What about the challenges facing Japan's diplomacy? Any priorities?
Well, the priority number one is making good relationship with the United States. Whoever wins November, that's the base. And number two, we need to maintain a dialogue with China. Well, their activities in Senkaku Island or our self-defense force is forced to scramble every day against the Chinese Air Force aircraft, or what they're insisting very unscientifically about the treated water of Fukushima and those Japanese who detained in China. That really hurt the bilateral relationship, and that's hurting the Japanese people's feeling towards China. We hope that Chinese government would try to create a better relationship with neighboring countries. I think we need to work out with like-minded country to put the pressure on China, as well as we need to work out with Global South to face China. I mean, China has been using economy as a sort of a political tool to assert their opinions, and I think we need to work out with Global South that China won't continue doing this.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the floor again for a question. Zakari-san.
Radio France, Karine Nishimura. Thanks to be here. One question about job deregulation. Recently, you said that Japan needs more employment mobility, could be a factor to increase the wage. But in Japan, the workers' union are workers' union.
労働組合。
労働組合はとても弱い are not strong, and it could be dangerous for workers to be in position to leave a company, even if they have some incentive to try to get another job in another company, because generally workers in Japan execute what they are asked to do. So if an employer in a company say, you have to leave, I give you money and you leave, they will leave, but they'll be able later to get a better job with a better wage? That's a question.
Thank you. Thank you. Right now, there are 14 million part-time workers in Japan. 4 million working on a contract basis. Those 14 million part-time workers working at close to the minimum wage. And the 4 million contract workers, their job is quite tightly described, and they just continue that job. And wage increase is quite insignificant. So first of all, we need to give them some chance to reskill themselves so that they could get the better job, better paid, better skill required. So that's the first thing. We definitely need some kind of reskilling chance given to those workers. Number two, even if you're officially hired by a company, if you're working for smaller SMEs in Japan, you could often be fired without any compensation. All you can do is you can go to the court, but you have to pay some fee for your lawyers and whatever. Even if you win, the court would tell the company to reinstate you back to the position. And would you like to continue that? That's the thing. So if there's a set rule for compensation once you're fired, those workers working for SME and got fired could get some kind of compensation, which is far better than just getting fired without any money. Thirdly, if you're running a company, you would hesitate to hire somebody officially because at this moment, once you hire somebody, you cannot fire him. So what you would do is you won't put him on the official roster. You would put him on a part-time, or you would get some contract base. If the law is made more flexible, you might give somebody a chance to work for the company officially and enjoy the better pay. Right now, if you're officially hired by a big corporation, you are protected. But once you are out of it, you're just out of it. You don't get much support. You don't get much pay. And what I wanted to do is just break this big brick wall so you can move more freely in labor market. You know, in your life, sometimes you got the children, you wanted to spend more time with your kids. Or sometimes your aging parents getting sick, you need to take care of them. Or you wanted to do something else, so you need to spend time to skill yourself. at this moment, you just cannot do that, because if you wanted to work less hours, you need to leave the current status and go to part-time or go to unofficial contract. And once your stage is over, you cannot go back up. But if you break the wall, and if you can make labor market more freely, you can choose how you want it to work. And that makes people much happier. And that's what I wanted to do.
Okay. Okay, gentleman in front, and then.
Yes, Scott Foster from Asia Times. To continue on this theme, in the recent proposed defense budget, I see that personnel expenses are up only 2%. So spending on soldiers is up only 2%. And then it is reported that the recruitment drive is 50% short of its target. So how can you develop a more independent defense posture if nobody wants to join the G8I? And if you do, you have a second-rate life.
Thank you. Well, because of Ukraine and maybe the situation in Taiwan, we get consensus among the people to increase our defense spending, which is good. But we have so far talked about how much we're going to spend. And now it's time to talk about how we're going to spend the money that's allowed to spend on defense side. And I strongly believe we really need to spend on the people. We definitely need to increase or improve the life of self-defense force members, not just the wage, but every aspect. And we also need to recruit and promote women in the self-defense force. We also need to change the composition of ground, air, and the maritime self-defense force. We are no longer expecting Soviet Union invading Hokkaido. It's now air and the maritime threat coming to Southwest. So we definitely need to change the composition. We need to build a strong cyber force. And so that is quite different type of self-defense force than before. So that's what we need to spend the money on. Number two, we need to adjust the kill chains. I was defense minister before Ukraine, and there were not much talk of drones. I suggested if we should develop fighter jet without a pilot. It was instantly killed. Well, a bit too early, but we definitely need a new kill chain. Right now, China is investing in blue water navy, but if you look at the chart of East China Sea, it's quite shallow, and if they wanted to come out of Pacific, they have to go through some choke point in southwestern island of Japan. So if we have drones or submarine with torpedo or some kind of missiles and sitting deep down, that'll be a very strong deterrence for the Chinese Navy. That's why I have been talking about nuclear-powered submarine. We should join AUKUS and make it JOCUS and create quieter, being able to sit deep down longer with missiles or torpedoes. So number two, definitely we need to think about new kill chain. Thirdly, we need a strong defense industry. I was kind of shocked to see how weak our defense industry is when I was a defense minister. It's usually very small part of large corporation like Mitsui Heavy Industry, Kawasaki, IHI, but defense-related division, their revenue is less than 10%. So if you're talking to CEOs of those companies, they don't know what I'm talking about. I have to talk to the division head, and then we can discuss the issue. Or there are many small manufacturing shop run by Papa and Mama. One type of ammunition is created by or produced by one small company, and the owner told me as long as he's alive and he's there, he would supply the ammunition to self-defense force. But he wouldn't know what his son or daughter would continue that because it's so small profit. And so we definitely need to think about how we can do that. And one solution is allow export of weapons system, because the budget is very limited for self-defense force, and usually for those weapons systems, self-defense force is the solo customer, and order for ammunition or spare parts is far from stable. 1 year, self-defense force get the big chunk of budget out of extraordinary budget. They order 100. The next year, they couldn't get it. It was 0. So the supplier couldn't manufacture those spare parts, ammunition, whatever online. It's quite handmade, and the price is very high. It takes a long time to produce, and so if we allow them to export, then they can produce in quantity with production line, so the very stable order, stable quality, and they make profit out of that. So thirdly, we definitely need to think about how we're going to create a healthy defense industry here. Because Ukraine, you could get the ammunition by train from Poland or next door neighbor. But here, if something happened, we get the supply by ship, and that is far more difficult than getting supply by land. So we need to create some kind of strategy for logistics.
Okay, just a minor point. You said the Mitsui Heavy Industries, but I assume it's a Mitsubishi
Sorry,
Heavy Industries.
Mitsubishi.
Okay, just a minor point. Okay, go ahead. Front row.
Kono-san, thank you for joining us today. My name's Will Fee from research and consulting firm Yuri Group. We've already gone over the kind of the disparity that's growing between Japan's digitalization aims and its green transition aims. And I think it would be fair to say that one criticism that could be leveled at the Kishida administration is a lack of joined up thinking between these grand designs, say digital transformation known as DX, green transformation known as GX. In this time of transition, how much commitment is there from the government to these kind of grand designs, DX, GX, which I presume have been put together at great time and great expense? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it is true Japan's digitalization or digital transformation is lagging behind, unfortunately. And green transformation, there are a lot of things we can do. So green transformation takes digital transformation in many fields, like putting smart grid to begin with. So we have 600 trillion yen cash the corporation is sitting on, and we need to move that money. So what government can do is to change the regulation to solve social issues so that it will create opportunity for new investment. Digital and green, that I think really fit in that strategy. We need to build a better grid, better connection line between Hokkaido and Tokyo. If we are to build offshore wind, we still need to invest in it. So government need to set the goal and deregulate showstoppers and invite the companies to invest in green and digital. What we need to do is the government decision to set the goal high and start deregulating. And hopefully those 600 trillion, or at least part of it, start moving.
Okay, go ahead, gentlemen.
Yusuke Maekawa, senior reporter at Argus Media and British Energy Media. Minister Kono, you have just mentioned earlier that you have changed your opinion about the nuclear power policy. So can you elaborate a bit more about your current nuclear power policy? Do you think Japan needs to increase the number of nuclear power plants in order to meet the rising demand of electricity, or would you like to keep the number of plants as small as possible? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, what we need to do is we need to meet electricity demand. And if we are to achieve carbon neutral by 2050, our option right now is renewable and nuclear. So what we need to do with nuclear power at this moment is to restart existing nuclear power plant if that is declared safe. And what comes after that, there could be a lot of options. As I said, if the current forecast for the electricity demand is correct, we are not able to meet that demand. But hopefully, there will be some increase in efficiency in the use of electricity, so the demand number will go down. And gap will be smaller. And then we investing in hydrogen technology, ammonia, CCS, fusion. I'm not sure if fusion, how much we can bring it forward. So I think we need to try and see what is available, what is practical, what is cheap. And at the end of the day, I think we need to bring in according to the merit order. So we'll see. We'll see how technology develops and what will be stable and reasonable priced energy. At this moment, we are not sure.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. Mr. Kono, thank you very much for your time. And I'd like to present you the usual one-year
Wow.
one-year guest membership. But when we're inviting prime minister candidates, there's one condition attached to it. Would you be willing to come back as a prime minister once you're elected?
Of course.
Okay. Okay, here's your.
Thank you very much.
Okay, press conference adjourned.